Hi, and welcome everyone to 647, 6 stories for 7 a.m. Why? Because there's a famine of truth in our country. This is your quick news fix, and the truth starts now. Here is story number 1, and you cannot make it up. This is a post from a former White House military aide under Bill Clinton, and you definitely cannot make this up. As the Air Force military aide and carrier of the nuclear football, the other aides and I lived and worked in the White House. One morning, I was the first person on President Clinton's calendar. I was scheduled to brief the president on the nuclear process and answer any questions he might have. I arrived at 7 a.m. before the rest of the Oval Office was at work. It also happened to be the same morning that the Monica Lewinsky affair hit the national press. As I walked by his secretary's desk in the outer area of the Oval, I noticed the headlines of the Washington Post. I knew he'd been caught. I walked into the Oval and found the president with his head in his hands, bloodshot eyes. He knew he'd been caught too. I said, "Sir, if this is a bad time, I can come back later for the briefing." He agreed. I said, "Just one more thing. Could I just authenticate that you have the nuclear codes?" We called the codes the biscuit because the president would tear it open. The president carries the codes. The aide carries the football. He told me that no, he didn't have them. He didn't know where they were. I asked him how long they'd been misplaced. He couldn't remember. I was floored. It had never happened before. Instead of concern for the missing top secret document, he simply said, "Please don't let this get out." His only concern was his impending impeachment, Monica, and his poll numbers. I gave the Pentagon a heads up, and they were incredulous. We conducted an extensive search of the White House and the residence. Never found them. The Pentagon hopped to and created a new set that was quickly disseminated across the U.S. nuclear arsenal. No easy task. They brought a new set the next morning. Bill Clinton lost the nuclear codes for an undetermined period of time. Our commander-in-chief didn't have the ability to launch nuclear weapons. He never informed us. He had Monica on his mind. Dereliction of duty to the max. You cannot make this stuff up. Makes Biden look a little better. All right, story number 2. A former Navy second-in-command 4-star admiral was convicted of bribery yesterday after a 5-day trial. Retired 4-star Admiral Robert P. Burke, 62 years old, was found guilty of directing lucrative contracts to a teaching company in exchange for a $500,000 a year no-show job after leaving the Navy. Burke is facing a 30-year jail term for sending millions of dollars of business to a company in New York City. Ahoy, mateys. All right, number 3. Wendy Ortiz is a 32-year-old illegal immigrant living in Lebanon, Pennsylvania, with her son, Axel. She makes $13 an hour working at a meatpacking plant and has lived in the U.S. for over 10 years. She fled El Salvador when it was the murder capital of the world and her life was threatened prior to St. Bukele. Her salary is barely enough for her autistic son and for herself to subsist. Wendy was sent a notice by the U.S. government that she was being fined for being here illegally. The amount of her fine is $1.8 million. She has 30 days to contact and contest the bill, or else she must self-deport. Now, I get contacting people and self-deporting, but this is just making it too easy for the liberal press to have a field day against the Trump administration and Republicans in general, right? Okay, story number 4, no tax on tips. Yesterday, the Senate voted unanimously to pass the no tax on tips legislation. Good job. But in exchange for this good behavior, Dems and blue state rhinos quadrupled the current SALT deduction from $10,000 to $40,000. So that's the state and local tax deduction as long as you're making less than $400,000 a year. And these folks all have accountants that make sure they get under that line. So these are people with tons of money that our Senate prioritized because they did a little good deed with tax on tips. So you see how this works. At the hog farm, peanuts for servers and tens of thousands off the top for wealthy elites. So, for you city folks, that's a hog call. All right, let's get on to story number 5, the Golden Dome. And this is missile defense, not the president's hairstyle. Trump announced yesterday that they have approved the architecture for the Golden Dome air defense platform to be completed in 3 years. It will defend against all missile attacks, including the current state-of-the-art hypersonic missiles, whether they're launched from space, from submarines, or from halfway around the world. He said that this defense system will be 100% effective. He did not say that it could defend against Chinese weather balloons. All right, number 6. Another good look for academia. University of Buffalo had their graduation on Sunday. One grad, Jean-Paul Al-Arab, was told he could walk with his infant son in his arms. His motivation for working 2 jobs and squeezing in night school and squeezing in all the homework was all about his son. And son and father showed up. They were each dressed in matching blue cap and gown, looking super cute. All right, so Al-Arab is getting his bachelor's in criminology. And on Sunday, the school told him he could not bring his son on stage because of safety issues. So security escorted him away, but he was not to be deterred. He said that he was going to walk with his son because this was their thing and they wanted to have this memory. So he snuck back in the event. Security called the cops. Al-Arab ran on stage with his son, with security and cops running after him. Al-Arab shook the hands of administrators, turned to the crowd. They were all cheering, understood what was going on, and they booed the cops. You know, academia just, they can't get it right. They got no common sense. They got no common touch. And what can I say? You are better than that. So please like us, share us, make comments so that we can get better. But the main thing is, have a great day at work, and God bless you.
Take a picture, it'll last longer. The mirror on the wall say I'm getting stronger. Hey yo, the mirror don't lie. Hey yo, the mirror don't lie. Look at me, take a picture, it'll last longer. The mirror on the wall say I'm getting stronger.